Good afternoon. It is February 10th, 2026. I'll now call to order this work study. Will the clerk call the roll?
Councilwoman Guardado.
Here.
Councilwoman Hernandez.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Brien.
Here.
Councilwoman Pastor. Councilman Robinson.
Here.
Apologize, thank you. Councilman Robinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Stark.
Here.
Councilman Waring. Vice Mayor Hodge Washington.
Here.
Mayor Gallego.
Here. Mario Barajas is with us to provide Spanish interpretation. Mario, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Mario Barajas. I have colleagues Oscar Monroy and Elsie Duarte serving as interpreters for today's meeting. I'll now take a moment to introduce ourselves to our Spanish-speaking audience and give them a few instructions as well. Buenas tardes, yo soy Mario Barajas. Voy a estar trabajando con Oscar Monroy y Elsie Duarte como intérpretes a los de habla hispana. Quisiéramos recordarles de que si acaso van a necesitar intérprete de español, están disponibles los auriculares. Si es que lo requieren, pueden tomarlos allá atrás en el vestíbulo para que puedan escuchar la junta en español. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mario. First, I want to start off by saying that I know this is a very scary time for so many of our residents. What we have witnessed in Minneapolis is no less than one of the most sweeping violations of civil rights in modern American history. It's a campaign of fear and intimidation that has no place in our country. The American people were told that when it comes to immigration enforcement, the administration would, quote, focus on the worst of the worst. That hasn't happened. According to the Cato Institute, since October, only 5% of those taken into custody by ICE have a violent criminal conviction. ICE net has become so wide that it ensnares American citizens, tribal members, protesters. This is not making our communities safer. It's creating chaos, disrupting lives of everyday Americans, and hurting local economies. There's a well-founded fear that what ICE has done in Minneapolis could happen in Phoenix. We know they bought a $70 million facility near neighborhoods and grocery stores in Surprise that they intend to use as a detention center. At 32nd Street in Shea, ICE agents pepper sprayed protesters with no cause whatsoever. That appears to be assault. And our Attorney General reports a rise in the number of ICE agents and unmarked and marked vehicles at the local ICE office. Phoenix is a beautifully diverse city with a rich immigrant community, and right now, so many of our residents feel under attack by the federal government. To everyone who feels like that or fears for a family member, a neighbor, a coworker, a friend, I see you, I hear you, and we will do what we can as the City of Phoenix to advocate for our community and ensure you know your rights. That's why we're here today. I've called this meeting so the City Council can give direction to staff to begin the process of developing policies that help Phoenix residents should ICE surge their presence in our city. We have a rule in our city code that requires the City Council to vote to give direction on any assignment that will take longer than 8 hours to complete. It's called the 8-hour rule. And our vote today will allow staff to engage in crafting these policies. As the staff completes that work, we want to hear from the community, and the list of recommendations will be brought back here to the City Council for public comment and a final vote. I want to acknowledge that the work of many community and advocacy groups is already taking place. Many are providing valuable guidance and training to document abuses by federal agents. And they're anticipating the needs that our neighbors might have in the coming months. Thank you. In Phoenix, we look out for one another. While we must work within state and federal law, I want to thank my colleagues on the City Council for working so hard to do whatever we can to protect our city. In order to make sure that every council member is heard during this important conversation, I'll first recognize each council member for up to 10 minutes, and then we'll go back and recognize council members who have additional comments and questions after that. And now I'll turn it over to our staff for a presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. I will be conducting the presentation today along with Executive Assistant Chief Dennis Orender. And I do want to point out that Chief Giordano is sorry he can't be here today. He is attending the Major City Chiefs Conference in California. So we are here today to discuss a proposed community transparency initiative. Sorry, technical difficulties. There we go. What we will go over today is a little bit of background as to how we came to this conversation. We also want to review what we've said publicly about our current police department guidelines and directives, and then there will be an opportunity for council to discuss the proposed council directive to staff. As you are aware, on February 5th, last week, Mayor Gallego called a work study session, which brings us here today. Work study sessions provide an opportunity for the mayor and city council to discuss topics important to the community in an open session. Residents throughout Phoenix have shared their growing concern about how potential federal law enforcement activities could adversely and are adversely impacting the community. The purpose of today's work study is to discuss the issue and direct staff to explore, develop, and present a framework for a community transparency initiative and to return to the council within 45 days. This, as the mayor referenced earlier, is the 8-hour rule direction required by city code. And now I'd like to turn it over to stated as the policy direction of the department.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today and allowing me to outline our mission and what the community can expect from their police department. Our mission is simple and clear yet powerful, and that is to serve everyone in this community with dignity and respect. Every interaction and every conversation is grounded in these principles, along with ensuring that we remain committed to protecting the rights and the safety of every person in the city. That includes those who work here, those who live here, and those who visit our city. We understand the challenges and the concerns our community members have with respect to enforcement activities being conducted by the federal government. City leadership has provided our employees with guidelines on how to respond appropriately in the event federal law enforcement agencies visit our workplace. And to follow up on that, Chief Giordano has reiterated his commitment by reminding the community and our employees of our mission to serve everyone in our community with dignity and respect, but he's also shared what the community should expect from PPD. And that is, officers will identify themselves during the course of their duties. Officers responding to calls for service or conducting enforcement are not permitted to wear face coverings. And officers' uniforms must display visible Phoenix police identifiers, and that's in our uniform policy and has been for many, many years. We want our residents to recognize us and feel comfortable during their interactions with the police department. Chief Giordano has also been very clear in that our officers do not enforce federal immigration laws. Sorry. We recognize that trust is not automatic, it's earned through our actions. We remain committed to open and honest conversations with our community members while being transparent. We also recognize that we are not only held accountable to each other, but we are accountable to the 1.7 million residents in the city. Chief Giordano has been very clear in that our officers do not enforce federal immigration laws. We remain focused on upholding local and state laws to provide public safety, and our hope is that this clarity will help us build trust and positive relationships with our community members, ultimately resulting in residents feeling safe and contacting the Phoenix Police Department when they need help. We do not enforce federal immigration laws. However, we do collaborate with our federal partners when investigating serious crimes that impact community safety. And just as an example, some of these types of crimes that we partner with our federal partners with is when it comes to drug trafficking, when it comes to child exploitation, and when it comes to violent crime. Our officers are committed to protecting this community and our members' rights. Many of us are part of this community, including myself. We raise our families here, and we care deeply about this great city. We say this all the time, that public safety works best when it's a partnership. We can't go at this alone. Together with transparency and mutual respect and staying committed to our mission, we will continue to build a better Phoenix together. And with that, I will turn it back over to Assistant City Manager Lori Bays.
Thank you, Chief. I'd now like to take an opportunity to review the directives in the memo from Mayor Gallego to City Manager Zerker as a starting point for the conversation today. And the directives are as follows. Staff will explore, develop, and present a program framework for the Community Transparency Initiative that includes 1, documenting and preserving information on federal immigration enforcement activities within Phoenix city limits that may violate criminal statutes and/or individual civil rights with the intent to investigate crimes committed by federal agents who act outside the scope of their duties. Second, to collect data on impacts to city services as a result of federal immigration enforcement. Third, identify potential partnerships and volunteer opportunities to facilitate the initiative. Fourth, ensure multilingual communication channels across city services and resources. And finally, implement training for city employees who may encounter federal enforcement actions, including protocols related to administrative and judicial warrants. Thank you, Mayor, and we're happy to answer any questions or participate in any way you'd like us to.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll begin with Councilwoman Guardado.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to thank staff for all of their hard work. Chief, I know it's not an easy time, so thank you for your leadership and taking on this role as being our liaison for such a complex issue. Thank you for that. Thank you, everyone, Lori, Ed, for all of the hard work, and to our attorneys that are going to be tasked to getting this together, thank you as well. With that being said, I also want to thank the community, my colleagues, and to staff for being here today. I want to start by grounding this conversation and why we are here, not in hypotheticals or technical debates, but in what is happening in our neighborhoods right now. Across Phoenix, fear is changing behavior. People are hesitating to report crimes. Parents are afraid to take their children to school events. Workers are afraid to seek help when they are injured or exploited. Families are questioning whether it is safe to show up to city services that exist to protect them. That fear is not theoretical. It is showing up in ways that are disappointing and dangerous for our city. It is disappointing because Phoenix works best when residents trust their local government, when they believe that calling 911, visiting a city office, or reporting a problem will make them safer, not put them at risk. And it is dangerous because fear undermines public safety. When crime goes unreported, when witnesses stay silent, when families pull back from services, the entire community is less safe, not just immigrant families, but everyone. That is why this conversation matters. Let me be clear about what this study session is and it isn't. This is not about obstructing federal law. This is not about telling federal agencies how to do their jobs. And this is not about symbolic labels or rhetoric. This is about the city of Phoenix doing its job, protecting civil rights, maintaining public safety, and ensuring our own resources are used lawfully and responsibly. Cities have authority over their own employees. Cities have authority over their own property. Cities have authority over their own data and records. And cities have a responsibility to act when fear is eroding trust and safety. Right now, our residents need clarity. They need to know what happens when they walk into a city building.
Excuse me, I'm trying
What
to listen
happens?
to her. Excuse me. Mayor,
You keep going. Okay. So what happens when they report a crime? What happens when federal agencies interact with city facilities or city staff?
I think that's what we're trying to do. If you can give us a few, we're not going to kick you out. If I may.
Vice Mayor.
Well, it doesn't really help us if we're not able to move forward. All right, so you would rather. No, I.
one, and only one had courage to stand up and try to protect our community. And all our sheriff and ACOC, and the refugee deportation pipeline. We've already witnessed 2 American citizens gunned down, and that's not even the extent of their harm. 32 people died in ICE custody in their death camps last year. You're not keeping us safe with weak-ass solutions. We need real courage from all of you. We actually need to know this is persistent. We don't need to know what today. We're tired of this bullshit. We want to fix everything. If you defend ICE in any form whatsoever, you are a total disgrace. We've had it. We've been political aspirations resolved. It's about time you stood up for the citizen. We've had it. Who protects us? Who protects us? They protect you. They're all here to protect you right now. Who protects us? They're ain't gonna let them do that to us. That's what the police are for, right? That's what they do that to us.
This is what you're calling transparency. This is what you're calling action. Shame on you and calling yourself a mayor.
This council has a pattern of dismissing the will of the voter and their voice. We've done it month over month, whether it's medical, transportation, keeping our people safe. You guys dismiss us. Your comments at the end of every vote counter to what you hear in the community and what you hear from us. It's a fucking shame. We've had it.
And all we care about is supporting people when there's bigger issues out there that we need to be focusing on, like the drug issue and the homeless issue. That's what we need to be focusing on. Not this issue right here of immigration, because these are innocent people that just come to this country to work. We have done nothing but just come to work. And some of these people right here, even they can come to this country and say, oh, fuck it, I'm not going to pay tax dollars, I'm not going to do my taxes, but they decided to do their taxes. And what do you use the taxes for? Seriously, for ICE, you don't need the money for that. We need it for our communities. Because we live here every part.
None of you would be here if it wasn't for immigrants.
Thank you so much. We will now take a 10-minute recess.
Good afternoon. We're starting in 1 minute. Hello. Good afternoon. We're starting in 1 minute.
Thank you so much. We will resume the meeting of the Phoenix City Council. I'll turn to my council colleague.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to direct staff to develop potential ordinances, regulations, and guidelines consistent with the deliverables outlined in the mayor's February 5th memo, as well as options for the council to consider relating to outside organization staging in our parks and preserves and other city properties.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
No, not a second.
I make the
I
second.
have questions. I'm not.
We have an original motion, and then we have a second from Councilman Robinson. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay.
I'm a nay. I'm a nay.
Motion carries. The motion carries. We are adjourned.
Thank Vice Mayor O'Brien, who we introduced pretty quickly, but we're very lucky. She is the city councilwoman for this part of Phoenix, and you have a very fierce advocate for parks in your